This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so yesterday we are discussing about different kind of tables in HTML. There are multiple kind of tables. One is table with header, and one more is table without header. So these are the different kind of tables which are going to be discussed. We already done with that. And one more concept we discussed about block level elements, and inline elements. Block level elements, inline elements. Okay, so this is also we discussed in last class. And today we will discuss about the two important tags. One is the div tag, one is the span tag. So what about div? What about span? Div is division. Div is division. Division is something like a block of the elements. Block of elements. See how to use div? Div open, div close. So inside this div, we will place a number of elements. Next, we will discuss about span. Span also division. Span also division, which will contain elements and text. Okay, so one more important point. Div is block level container. Div is block level container, and span is inline container. Div is block level container, span is inline container. So what it means, suppose this is my web page. On top of this web page, if I place a division, the division which is occupying full width of the page. If I take a span is not going to be occupy full width of the page. Got my point? Div is occupying full width of the page, but span is not going to be occupying full width of the page. So that is majorly difference between the div and span. So you can able to place a number of spans side by side in the single row. I can able to place a number of spans side by side in the single row. So that is what actually the span element. But division, you can't able to place multiple divisions in single row. So let me show how this is going to be happening with. So let's start with the div and span now in Visual Studio Code. I'm taking new file now, and let me save it as, and let me create a new folder. This will be 12 by 8. So inside this, I'm going to be taking as div and span .html. Okay, so I'll save the nodes also for you. So file save as, mm, 12 by 8, and this will be the nodes. Now coming to the Visual Studio Code, what I want to do is I'll take a division. Let me write some content inside this. This is my division, and let me take a span. This is a span. This is span. This is my division. This is span. Okay, what I want to do is let me write some style sheet for the division and span. Otherwise, I can't able to understand how division is occupying with and how span is occupying with. I'm going to be applying some background color for the division. Division background color, which is going to be something like division background color. I'm going to be applying some color, and the span also I'm applying some background color. Span also I'm applying some background color. span background color, I'm just trying to giving some different color, blue color, cornflower blue. Let's see how this division and span, which are going to be occupying on top of the browser. Let me right click on this, open in default browser. You can see and observe how division is occupying and how span is occupying. If you take multiple divisions and multiple spans, then you can able to clearly observe that how divisions are occupying on top of the page and how spans are occupying on top of the page. Now you can see three divisions one after another which are going to be adding, and three spans side by side which are going to be occupying. So let me give some margin 10 pixel for all the divisions, and span for span also I'm giving margin 10 pixel all sides. Okay, now you can see that three divisions which are going to be available on top of the screen one after another, and three spans side by side which are going to be occupying in a single row. So this is about the division and span. Very clear. Any questions so far, Madhurya?
No, sir.
No. Right. Let me go for one important topic. Important attributes. Important attributes in HTML. What are the different kind of important attributes in HTML? The one important attribute is class attribute, ID attribute, and one important attribute is class attribute and ID attribute. One important attribute is title attribute, and some special attributes which are going to be available. Special attributes. What are the different kind of special attributes which are going to be available for HTML elements? So special attributes something like these attributes are specifically available for some elements, something like src, something like href, something like width and height, okay, something like relevant, okay, something like a type, okay. These are the different kind of special attributes which are going to be available, but important attributes are what? Important or common attributes, something like common attributes I can say, something like common attributes I can say, or important attributes I can say. What are the common attributes and important attributes? Class, ID, title. So why class is using for? Class is a name. Class is a name which will refer your element into CSS and JavaScript. ID also same. ID is a name. ID is a unique name. ID is unique name which will refer same concept, which will refer your element into CSS and JavaScript. Okay, very important. So whenever you want to access your element into CSS or JavaScript, class is one specific attribute and ID is also one specific attribute. ID is unique attribute, but class you can able to mention multiple names or multiple class names. Title. What is the title about it? Title is very simple. Title of element. Title of element. Okay, so when we hover on element, then we can able to observe, then we can able to observe some text, that will be title. Okay, that's it, enough. So let's see how these attributes are available in HTML. Let me take some new application, and this application is going to be saved as attributes.html. Okay, let's say some element now, which one I'm taking. I'm writing content, web development over there. And for this element, what I want to do is I'm trying to writing attributes. First attributes I am writing title. First attribute I am writing title. Hello, this is header. This is header. I am writing something. Title I am writing. Hello, this is header. Okay, where title can be displayed with. When I right click on the browser, okay, so when I go for the element h1, when I hover on h1, I can able to see the title. Can you see, observe the title? Hello, this is header. When we hover on element, we can able to see the title. Title of element. Title of element is hello, this is header. So I can able to see some text when I hover on web development. What the text is? Hello, this is header. That was title attribute. Okay, one more attribute is id attribute. Id is equal to something like 1. I'm giving the name as 1, and I'm giving class also. Class is equal to, I'm giving the class 1 and something like Srinivas, something like web. 3 classes I'm writing. How many number of classes you want, you can write it. There is no restriction for the class. Any number of class names you can provide, but id only one time. Id only one name, but class names may be multiple. Something like nicknames of the person. One person may have multiple nicknames. Same time, this class also having multiple names. Something like one is also class name of the element. Srinivas also class name for the element, and web also class name of the element. But id name is only one. Okay, what are the benefits of classes and IDs? Let me tell you about the CSS. In CSS, I'm trying to getting the class. I'm trying to getting the class. How to get the class? Dot one. Dot one. I'm giving color red. By the name of the class, by the name of the class called one, how to access the class in CSS is different. So when I come to the CSS, I will explain it. But now in the part of HTML, just try to observe that and understand that. If you want to access the class, compulsory we need to give a dot. Dot one, giving color red. Dot two, giving color green. And dot three, giving color blue. Okay, fine. Color red, color green, color blue. Let's right click on this and open in default browser. Open in default browser. Now you can able to see I got a red. Why? Because of why I'm getting red color? Very simple. Why I'm getting red color? Okay, let's try to refresh it. Why I'm getting red color? So red color is class name and green color also class name. Okay, one, there is no class called two, there is no class called three. Okay, let's give Srinivas now. Let's give web now. Web is the last class, right? Last line is first execution. Last line is first execution. Then obviously last line is blue color. Last line is web. Obviously blue color I can able to see on top of the browser. Obviously blue color I can able to see on top of the browser. But when I can give the ID, I'm giving the ID specifier. Now this will be the class specifier. This will be the class specifier. I'm giving class specifier very simply. Now I'm trying to providing ID specifier. If I'm giving ID specifier, if I'm giving ID specifier, when I give ID specifier, that should be like this. And ID name is what? One. And giving color pink. So once we provide ID automatically, ID is the first preference to the browser. Now I got a pink color in the browser. I got a pink color in the browser. Why? Because of ID is the first preference to the browser. If you don't have ID, obviously classes will take. If you have multiple classes, last class is the first execution. Last class is the first execution. So this is the very important benefit of the classes and IDs. Classes are names, nicknames, and ID is also name, but ID is unique. You cannot specify. You cannot specify multiple IDs. You cannot specify multiple IDs like this, but you can able to specify multiple classes like this. One and Srinivas and web. That's the importance of the class ID and title. Now we should understand what about SRC, IMG, SRC. We know that for images, SRC is the very important attribute. For images, SRC is a special attribute. At the same time, a target attribute also there. Target attribute. Target is equal to no. That will be for hyperlinks. A href, and this will be some link, and we will provide some target attribute. Target is equal to underscore blank. This is also some special attribute for hyperlinks. src is some special attribute for image, and src is some special attribute for iframes. Iframe src, we know that, right? Iframe src. At the same time, whenever you want to access uh, uh, external css into the html or external javascript into the html, that should be different. Whenever you want to access external css into html, later we will discuss that. Just I'm trying to explaining how attributes are working. External css into html, external css access into html, external css access into html. How to access external css into html? Using with the link tag. Link relevant style sheet and href, whatever the file name you have, the file.css something. So this is a way of accessing external css. Now let me try to explain you external js access into html. How this will be? This will be also very simple. This will be also very simple. Okay, so let me try to write a script. Src is equal to something, and src is something like file.js. File.js. Okay, so this is the way of writing multiple kind of attributes in html. So what are the different kind of attributes we are writing here? Class we are writing, id we are writing, title we are writing, src we are writing, href we are writing, weight, height, relevant, type, and one more attribute called target attribute. We are writing target attribute also. That is a special attribute for us. Okay, so these are the different kind of special attributes which are going to be available for multiple kind of elements, and these are the common attributes which are going to be available for multiple kind of elements. Any questions so far?
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so now we will discuss about forms. Okay, what are the different kind of forms in real websites? What are the different kind of forms in real websites? Okay, so you know that when you go to the bank, you need to fill the form, or you have a mobile application, or you have the internet banking, you need to fill the form, you need to sign up the form, or you are registering for one website called Amazon or Flipkart or Mintra. What you are going to be doing is you are going to be filling some form. You are giving email id, you are giving phone number, you are giving first name, last name. So you are giving gender details, you are giving some description, all these things. See, in web application or in web page or website, forms are very important. Something like sign up form, something like sign in form, something like a registration form. So these are the common forms which are going to be available. Something like a pop-up form, pop-up form. See, when you launch some websites nowadays, they are giving some pop-up window. On top of the pop-up window, they are going to be taking your details. See, nowadays people are doing some business. People are doing what? When you launch some website, okay, so they are doing some business. What they are doing? For example, you're entering something like www.abc.com, some website you're launching. Whenever you're launching some kind of website, immediately they are actually showing some pop-up box to you. Immediately they are showing some pop-up box to you. In that pop-up box, they are taking your name or your email id or phone number first, or they are asking sign up or sign in. Do you know? If you don't want to sign up, or if you don't want to sign in, you close the button and you are watching your website. Okay, so that kind of pop-up forms also available nowadays. And sign up is common, sign in is common, registration is common. So whenever you want to design this kind of forms, what you want to do? So basically, forms are forms are creating with form tag, form open, form close, form open, form close. Okay. Okay, inside form inputs are available. Inputs are available. Inputs are available. So inputs having lot of types. What are the different types of inputs which are going to be available in the forms? Type text, type password, type radio, type checkbox, type button, type submit, type color, type email, type tell. Okay, type reset, type date, type time, type date time. So got my point. Input have lot of types. Type text, text kind of input, password kind of input, radio button kind of input, checkbox kind of input, button kind of input, submit kind of input, color kind of input, email kind of input, telephone number kind of input, reset kind of input, date kind of input, time kind of input, date time kind of input. These are the different kind of input types which are going to be available. Okay, type is attribute basically. Type is attribute. Type is attribute for input. Type is attribute for input tag. Okay, so input is a tag. Input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text. Okay, there is a one more important attribute. Placeholder is attribute. Placeholder is attribute which will show some default text on or inside text box. Okay, how you can use placeholder? Input type is equal to text and placeholder is equal to something like enter username. Enter username. These are kind of things. Okay. So once I come to the forms, I will explain how the type attribute is going to be declared with, and how your form is going to be designed with, how this placeholder will be designed with, all those things.